What's up, everybody? This is Outlaw Beats once again, coming back with another overview. This time, we're going to be checking out a song called Let's Get It by an artist named Amber Shion. So, we're going to just play a little snippet of the music video real quick, get you guys familiar with the song, and then we're going to go to the original beat and hear how that sounded, and then show you in the Pro Tools session what I did to it to get to the point where you hear it in the video. So, Amber Shion, here she is, and we're going to kind of start a little bit into the song right before the drop.
Bag won't hold me down. I'm on my own, let's fucking go.
Please don't touch my body, I don't wanna hurt nobody. Please don't touch my body, I don't wanna hurt nobody. I told him I'm that bitch that you can't fuck with. Please don't touch my body, I don't wanna hurt nobody. Please don't touch my body, I don't wanna hurt nobody. I told him, let's get it, go. 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 Let's get it. Every beginning got an ending, and I ain't ducking no shot.
All right, as you can see, crazy video. I love this video. Maybe one of my favorite videos an artist has ever done to any track I've ever worked on before. But anyways, Amber and her producer, Gen Studios, had brought this track to me and wanted me to kind of put my sauce on it and bring it more to life. So let me just show you real quick the original beat. Now, it's just a loop, very basic, but just kind of give you an idea of what it sounded like. All right, so basically that just loops all the way around. There's no breakdowns or anything in it. So the track was kind of raw in that sense that it didn't really have a lot of dynamics and things moving around in the song. So that's what they brought it to me for. That's what I do. So anyways, I'm going to show you what I did. And I'm going to just start off just showing you the Pro Tools session, play a few seconds.
Can't hold me back, won't hold me down. I'm on my own, let's fucking go.
Please don't touch my body, I don't wanna hurt nobody. Please don't touch my body, I don't wanna hurt.
So just off rip, I went and changed some things of the beat, and the most important to me was the bass line. The original bass line, as you can hear on here, it was cool, but it was kind of low. And so what I ended up doing is I took, this is the original bass line right here on the track. I ended up dropping it down into Melodyne in Pro Tools, got the MIDI, put Sublab on it. I muted this track because then I committed this to the waveform. So anyways, let me just show you guys the bass line real quick. Let's mute these real quick. All right. And the original bass line sounded like this, just so you can hear it. So it had a much thinner tone. It wasn't as like punchy and low as this one. Let me play it again. And I felt like this bass matched more the personality of her vocals and the vibe the song was going for. And that's really what I'm always looking for, the feel. It's all about the feel. It's not really about how you get there. It's just about how it sounds at the end of the day. So let me turn back on these other elements of the music real quick. And then what I want to show you is what I did with the drums. And one thing Amber really appreciates that I do is I go in there and I'm like messing with, like tweaking every little tiny thing. And really, I think the biggest thing to get out of that is just greatness is in the details. And the tiny details. You know, a lot of people are like, what's the one thing I could do to make my mixes better? And it's not one thing. It's their tiny little incremental things that kind of add up to a bigger picture. And that really applies to any line of work, whether you're an artist or athlete or, you know, a business person. It's always in the details of what you do. So anyways, let me go ahead and play what these drums sound like.
On my own, let's fucking go.
And we could start off just looking at the snare. So let's look at the snare real quick. And I thought I muted the that guitar thing, but I didn't. All right, so that first thing you hear is actually I reverbed out the clap snare thing, and I reversed it so it kind of leads into the song and builds that energy, because she's kind of like, you know, just kind of talk rapping at the beginning and telling you, setting up, and that kind of switches the energy into the full drive of the song. So that was one thing. But I'm gonna play the snare. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these effects off of here real quick. Actually, there's supposed to be more. And I'm gonna reapply them. So it's not bad, but it's a little harsh on the top end, and it's a little like it's taking up too much space, and it needs its own place. So I did bloom on here first. I'll show you. That's without. With. Okay, so you know, incrementally better, right? Then I wanted to use soothe and tame the harshness and kind of the higher end. So now we're getting a little bit more mid-forward sound from the snare, and it's getting more of a place. And it's a little EQ. So I brought back in some highs that I liked, so I kind of selected where I wanted to bring those up. And a lot of times mixing is like taking away and bringing back a little bit, taking away, bringing back a little bit. I added some fresh air. Actually, a lot of fresh air. Usually wouldn't use that much. But I kind of wanted that the very top end of the top end to kind of like get more in there. And then add some reverb. So before the snare was just like dying. As soon as they hit, or the clap snare, it would hit and then it just died. I wanted to like give it a little bit of a tail, a little bit of life to breathe. And then I just added some EQ, and actually I like this Hazel Rig EQ. Mostly cut, but I boosted just a little bit. So yeah, that's how I got that sound. And all right, so let's look at the kick. All right, it's pretty boomy. I added a couple things to it. So the attack of the kick was kind of just taking up too much of the energy, and it was a little bit too high. So I put Voice of God on it. Not on default setting. I think I scaled back the amplitude just a little bit. But sometimes the default setting on Voice of God is perfect. But the one thing I've noticed, it will kind of tame the highs. It will make the sound, the volume of it louder. So you usually have to tame it down. But so that's what it sounds with. Without. We're just getting more low end, and it's just taking a little bit of the harshness off the top. And actually added some EQ. So just taking a little bit more off the very top end, adding some at about 500, so it'll be more punchy. Yeah. Okay, so without processing, it's cool. But now I feel like we have a kick that's going to sit more in the mix. Let's go on here. What else we got? I think this is the hi-hats. So again, let me take off the plugins here and let you hear those. The main thing I heard when I heard it, it just sounded kind of thin. And hi-hats aren't supposed to be thick, but it just felt like wimpy. It didn't feel like it had strength and confidence. and hi-hats should be confident in their place. So I added some soothe to kind of kill the top end of the harshness. So you can see it taking out that, some bypass it. And it kind of took away a little bit of that tinny sound. Like sound like aluminum foil or something. I don't know. I added some fresh air back to it. I actually kind of added a lot. because I didn't want to take away all the top end. I want it dancing on the top of the track, especially the pattern that it is. And so you still want top end, but you just don't want it to be a thin, like wimpy top end. And then I added some EQ, and I boosted some of the lows, and I boosted some of the highs. So now it's just like way more like confident, right? Just compare the two. Yeah, it didn't sound like it really wanted to be there at the party. Now it sounds like, yeah, I'm that man, right? I'm that dude. So that's cool. What else do we got here? I think got the kick right there. We just went over. Oh no, that's not the kick. Sorry about that. This is.
On my own, let's fuck.
All right, so this is the actual synth, the guitar synth. Originally it was sample. The producer changed it because he didn't want to have to clear it. He changed it. Actually changed the melody just a little bit too, so it wouldn't sound like that. But this is what it sounded like without processing beforehand. So it's cool. It sounds like, you know, it's the idea starting out, but it doesn't sound like a fully executed sound, right? So I start off with just some EQ, and remember, like, a lot of these moves don't have to be like crazy. Sometimes you do. Like I boosted like a lot of fresh air that I normally wouldn't boost on the other ones, but sometimes a lot of the moves are just small. And really what I wanted to do with these moves, I wanted to take out a little bit of the mud and just bring out the more interesting parts of it. Then I add this interesting plugin from Safari Pedals called Cobra Fuzz. And even though it doesn't sound like a real guitar, it's getting a guitar feel now because it's got that distortion and a little bit more of a solid sound. Then I added little Alter Boy. And so what I did here was I pitched down everything 12 semitones in the format, and then I blended the mix. So there's more of the original sound, and if you don't know what little Alter Boy does, it can give you kind of the deep voice, that pitched down voice, but you can also put it on instruments. So sometimes what I'll do when an instrument's sounding thin and needs a bit more beefed up, I'll put this on here, scale back the mix. I'll probably have it on, what does it tell me, 29.5%. So you're hearing 70% of the regular sound, and then 30% of that. About. Next one was Tone Architect. It's funny because, like, you know, there's presets on these things, but the presets don't, like, they're not like looking over your shoulder like, don't use that, I'm not a 808, which is I used the 808 bass toner for this preset, and I tweaked it a little bit, but essentially kind of taking back out some lows, making it more mid forward, and then this joker, this right here, this is the sauce. The saturation part of this plugin, the tube, nasty. I love it. And then adding some reverb. But before I go back to the reverb, let me just show you the Tone Architect before and after. So with. So I thinned it back out some, because I don't want it to be too thick, but I wanted that grit still be in there. And then I brought in reverb because you hear it kind of cuts off, not the most beautiful way. Now it sounds like we're in the hall, like we're in a concert hall and somebody's riffing, right? And then I added another Hazelrig EQ, which seems like I'm doing on all these tracks. Without all these tracks. So that's the original sound, and then with all of them added. So yeah, that was basically, as far as the production, as far as just making it sound better off rip. The next thing I did was went in there and I started chopping stuff up and bringing stuff to life. So I'm gonna bring the vocals back in there, kind of show you a few things. Obviously some are a little bit more obvious than others, but you can hear.
On my own, let's fucking go.
Please don't touch my body. I don't wanna hurt nobody. Please don't
I bring the
touch.
bass back in. My bad. Muted that joker.
On my own, let's fucking
Please
go.
don't touch my body. I don't wanna hurt nobody. Please don't touch my body. I don't wanna hurt nobody. I told him I'm that bitch that you can't fuck with. Please don't touch my body.
So that's a really important part to me. One thing I learned in band many years ago, my band director, I think we kept on playing over the rest notes. So the rest notes is where you don't play, for those who aren't familiar. And he was like, the rest note is just as important as any other note that you're playing on here. You have to follow the rest. You can't hang over, because it ruins the dynamic of that moment whenever, you're resting or the whole entire band's resting or whatever. So in this example here, like I showed you before, it's a loop. So I cut this part out to kind of give it a breath. And then you heard that little reverb tail. I did a reverse reverb. So I put reverb on this little track and reversed it. And then into that last word.
You can't fuck with. Please don't touch.
So when you hear with, it sounds like a wind blowing by you. It's like it gives a different energy, and then the track goes right back into the chorus. One more time.
Fuck with. Please don't touch my body. I don't wanna hurt nobody. Please don't touch my body. I don't wanna hurt nobody. I told him, let's get it, go. 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 Let's get it. Every beginning gotta end.
So again, just there's not a lot here in this production. So what I really wanted to do was just, again, make it more dynamic, make it move. I didn't add any notes, or I didn't like add a new instrument to it. So I just worked with what I had, and made it more dynamic. So when this part comes in, I put a high pass. And what that basically means, I took all like the highs out of the music. So now you're focused on what she's saying. You're like, oh, okay. Like it brings your attention to it, right? So when it switches and then it goes right back into the verse and everything comes back in.
Hurt nobody. I told him, let's get it, go. 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 Let's get it. Every beginning gotta end it. And I ain't ducking no shots, y'all sending. You start it, and I'ma finish it. Bitches throw rocks, and then they play innocent. I'm not the one, the two, or the three. Bitches gon' learn to quit fucking with me. Niggas be sweet, bon appetit. I'm Little Bo Peep, you bitches the sheep. I told a bitch move.
All right, so a lot of stuff going on there. So first 4 bars, she's rapping, and at the end of her 4th bar, she says 1, 2, 3, and it was like a very like when I heard it, I was like, we got to do something there right there. So very simply, because she's on beat 1, 2, 3, so I just chopped up the beat, and that's why it's so important to have your grid lock on, so you can chop these things up and do that. So all I did was take the whole entire beat and was like cut, copy paste right there, except with the bass line. I didn't copy paste the bass line right there. So now it's hitting hard. Like,
One, the two, or the three. Bitches
and
gon'
I
learn.
did that with the guitar too. So I just moved over. I didn't have to introduce more instruments. I did a tape stop, that thing going on.
The two or the three. Bitches gon' learn to quit fucking with me. Niggas be sweet, bon appetit. I'm Little Bo Peep, you bitches the sheep. I told a bitch move like Ludacris.
So one more time.
With me, niggas be sweet, bon appetit. I'm Little Bo Peep, you bitches the sheep. I told a bitch move
So
like.
I changed the beat up right there. I just moved the kicks so they would just hit all in a row.
We
Boom,
sweet,
boom,
bon appetit.
boom,
I'm Little
boom.
Bo Peep, you bitches the sheep. I told a bitch
And
move
then I
like.
cut right here again, just to give it a little bit more space, and then reversed it back in.
Bo Peep, you bitches the sheep. I told a bitch move like
Actually, I
Ludacris.
did reverse that.
Bitch, I ain't new to this. Anything I did, they doing it. If a bitch want beef, I'm chewing it. Back against the wall, but I ain't backing down. Niggas thought it was a joke, who laughing now? Motherfuckers wanna see me crash out. I'm coming in fresh, I'll last now. Please don't touch my body, I don't wanna.
All right, so at the end of this verse here, I did the opposite that what I did at the end of the first chorus. So what I did was I EQ'd everything. I just highlighted everything. I brought in a Q10. I can show you for those who want to see. It's simple. Like, I've been working with this EQ for 20 years, I think. And I just have a telephone preset that I've made. Actually, when it opens up, it goes to telephone because I use it so much. for this particular EQ, and I just highlighted and processed all that to have that sound. So once again,
If a bitch want beef, I'm chewing it. Back against the wall, but I ain't backing down. Niggas thought it was a joke, who laughing now? Motherfuckers wanna see me crash out. I'm coming in fresh out last now. Please don't touch my
so
body.
again with this clap snare, I put a reverb to make it like shoot out longer, even longer than the tail I put on it with that particular reverb. And then I reverse reverbed it, so it had reverb, and then it goes back into it. So you're like, you just know something's about to happen, and it's really prepping the listener for what changes are going to be coming.
Fucks wanna see me crash out. I'm coming in fresh out last now. Please don't touch my body. I don't wanna hurt nobody. Please don't touch my body. I don't
There
wanna.
you go with that part. Last thing maybe I want to show you guys is the second verse. Again, just feeling it out and finding places where you can make the music more exciting. And you know, a lot of people are like, "Man, that beat's just a loop." There's so many things you could do with a loop to make it more exciting. So I have a lot of fun with loop, with the beats that are loops, because I can make it not a loop, and it's so much more cool.
Let's get it, go. Let's get it, go. Let's get it, go. Let's get it. Yo, get these niggas umbrellas. I'm back and I'm better. My pussy get wetter. Mama ain't raised no hoe. Anything ain't kill me, make me better. Yo, I was
All right,
made.
so obviously the kick pattern changed in that moment, and you know it's real simple. Just 4 on the floor, as they call it. Boom, boom, boom. You hear that constant boom? That's called 4 on the floor. The I just hit the kicks. Boom, boom,
Get these
boom,
niggas umbrellas.
boom,
I'm
boom.
back and I'm better. My pussy get wetter. Mama ain't raised no hoe. Anything ain't kill me, make me better.
Also,
Yo, get these niggas umbrellas. I'm back and I'm better. My pussy get
I also
wetter.
took out the hi-hats, and I took the clap snare out, and it really just focuses the attention back on her vocal. You're vibing in the hook. I was like, oh, okay, and what she's saying now. So really everything I do is an intentionality of bringing out the artist and their vocals and the song and the energy more. So that was really the idea behind that part. And then I put a little pause right here to kind of break the energy up, to let the listener know, like, hey, we're going back, we're bringing it back. And if you don't already know about the rule of 11 seconds, or less sometimes, you want to change the music about every 8, 9, 10, 11 seconds. So, or not always change it, but add or take away something so the listener keeps on listening, right? Otherwise, it's just the same thing over and over again, right? For a lot of people.
Wetter. Mama ain't raised no hoe. Anything ain't kill me, make me better. I was made for this. I remember those nights I prayed for this. I was waiting on a chance at making it. Fuck waiting on a chance, I'm taking it. Sat back and watched the world get colder, and I had to carry
And so, you know, as you continue to see, I put another break in this part, and it's just to highlight words, break up the monotony of the music, and everything like that. But yeah, that's you know, mostly what I want to show you guys today. I could, you know, get a lot more into it if I wanted to, but I didn't want to make the video too long. But I appreciate you guys hanging with me if you made it to the end of this video. If there's any other songs that you know I worked on that you want me to do something like this for, please drop a comment or let me know. Or if you're an artist that's listening, like, hey, can you do a breakdown of this song of mine? Let me know, and I'll let you know as well. And that is it. I meant to bring up go check out her video. Let's Get It. I think it's got 37,000 views, over 1,000 likes. So, you know, this is, again, like I said, one of the coolest videos that I've been able to be a part of in some way or form or fashion. So I really appreciate of her. Amber's such a nice, sweet woman and great to work with. And I look forward to working with her in the future, which hint, we got some more stuff coming. And I think you guys are going to really like. All right. Until next time, peace, and I hope you guys have a great day.